or I want to harm myself, cut myself, things like that. There's research that talks about those types of things, and it's usually because of, just the content they're consuming and that sensory processing. Like our brains are not meant, especially like young children's brains that aren't fully developed, they're not necessarily meant to consume as much as a screen gives us. Like even adults, like our brains are not meant to consume as much as the screens that we're constantly looking at.
You know what's interesting too, as I'm just taking in what you're sharing as well, is like I find it fascinating that this is clearly an issue. It's clearly increasing. Internet especially is a massive indicator as to like what's causing these problems. But just because we're two clinicians using those words, if let's say this was a monetized channel and YouTube came across this, they'd take it off right away.
Mm-hmm.
When two clinicians seasoned in the field are talking about the realities, yet these kids can watch all the TikTok is wild. It is wild. The stuff that people are allowed to post on there. YouTube is too. I mean, the stuff that isn't against terms of service, but we can't use the real words that we have to use in the room with these individuals when we're the ones who are facing it week to week. Mm-hmm. Isn't that, I just find it fast. The world sometimes on the internet is so upside down. People are really lost out there with some of this stuff. It's one of the biggest drivers as to why I wanted to start doing this, is like, let's in our little corner just talk about what we need to talk about, whether mm-hmm. people listen on a big scale or not. Let's just talk. But it's fascinating, isn't it? Right? They're like, oh, but we can have this unregulated AI that has been coded to be this teenager's girlfriend, right? And break up with him, right? And play like this internet thing, playing with a child's emotions. And where, I always think with the grace in mind, but like, where are the parents? Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, a good thing to highlight there is like, we have to, as the adults, do better for these younger generations, because we're the ones who were first on the forefront with the internet.
Yeah, absolutely. I was in a really great session yesterday. There's a school psychologist. His name is Dr. Lane Pethick, and he works for Region 10. And he started out as like a pre-K kindergarten teacher, and then now he's this school psychologist who goes around. He works with a lot of students who have autism and behavior, and he does brain research. And he talks a lot about just that social connection and how we're missing it, and how technology has really influenced that. And they were doing this research before COVID.